Based on this scientific evidence, in Italy has confirmed using wide-angle X-ray scattering technology that the Shroud of Turin.
In the heart of a supercomputer, artificial intelligence tears through billions of calculations in seconds. Its target, a centuries-old relic that has defied science at every turn. Line by line, thread by thread, the AI scans deeper until it uncovers something no one expected. Hidden in the cloth is a pattern so impossible that it may shake the very foundations of Christianity itself, rattling the faith of billions worldwide. But the pattern isn't what anyone thought it would be. The Shroud of Turin is no ordinary piece of cloth. Stretching 14.5 feet by 3.7 feet, the linen bears the faint but haunting image of a man, his body marked with wounds that mirror crucifixion. For centuries, millions have believed this was the burial shroud that wrapped Jesus of Nazareth over 2,000 years ago. If true, it would be the only surviving physical evidence of Christ on earth. But since the shroud appeared in the 14th century, its origins have been cloaked in controversy. To believers, it is the most sacred relic in history. To skeptics, it is nothing more than a medieval forgery, a painted fraud that would burn to ash like any other scrap of linen. For hundreds of years, scientists, priests, and historians have tried to solve the puzzle, each test and experiment only deepening the mystery. The image resists explanation, the fibers resist imitation, and the debate refuses to die. Now, with the fabric deteriorating after centuries of preservation, a new investigator has stepped in, one not swayed by faith or doubt. Artificial intelligence has been unleashed on the Shroud of Turin. AI has discovered something, and it has done so without faith, but with objective facts. Of course, many Christians are wondering, can we trust a machine to explain the supernatural and change the face of a 2,000-year-old religion? The first accusation came from within the church. In 1389, the Bishop of Troyes wrote to the Pope, claiming that the shroud was fake, that the church had paid a skilled artist to create it. The Pope's reply, keep displaying the cloth. If only the bishop had seen what AI discovered. Would it have strengthened his faith or caused him to double down? In the first half of the 20th century, detailed photographs exposed the image on the shroud. The pictures revealed something shocking. The image contained three-dimensional information, as if encoded into the fabric itself. While the photographs were a giant stride for syndenology, they didn't settle anything. Skepticism remained. For 7 decades, researchers conducted indirect analyses, focusing on whether someone had painted the image or if it formed when the shroud contacted a human corpse. If the former were true, what would happen to the faith of millions? Before AI, everyone thought STURP would settle the question. In 1978, the Shroud of Turin research project gave 33 top scientists 5 days of unprecedented access. The 33 members came from various disciplines, holding positions in 20 major research institutions. STURP found no trace of artificial pigments, no paint. This ruled out theories of commissioned artists. Christians heaved a sigh of relief. STURP's 1981 report stated, "The shroud image is that of a real human form of a scourged, crucified man. It is not the product of an artist. The blood stains are composed of hemoglobin and also give a positive test for serum albumin." However, the report concluded that much remained unexplained. No combination of physical, chemical, biological, or medical circumstances could explain the image beyond doubt. The Shroud of Turin remains now, as it has in the past, a mystery. Where do humanity and the church go from here? A team of the best scientists has just spent years working to uncover the mysteries, yet nothing definitive came from the effort. The study was back to square one, but there was something no one had tried: carbon dating. In 1988, the Vatican gave the go-ahead. Samples were sent to 3 laboratories: the University of Arizona, the Radiocarbon Accelerator Unit at Oxford, and the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology. All 3 discovered the material dated between 1260 and 1390, more than a millennium after Jesus died. All 3 labs were 95% certain. The shroud was medieval, dating back to its first public display in Turin in 1353. The verdict seemed final. Case closed. Was the French bishop right all along? Was this the end of Christianity? Was it all a hoax? But then Marco Riani, an Italian statistician, noticed something. The carbon dating from the top edge is very different from the bottom edge. Our research does not prove the shroud is authentic, nor that it is 2,000 years old. The sample had been contaminated, taken from a patched repair section from the 1532 fire. The test that was supposed to end the debate didn't hold, and this is where AI comes onto the scene. Researchers fed super high-resolution digital scans into massive neural networks with no religious or historical biases. The only task? Find patterns in the shroud. What they found is something scientists have long admitted they cannot explain. Physicist Paolo Di Lazzaro calls it the question of questions. How is the image created? Why has every lab effort to reproduce this effect failed? Why is the color penetration incredibly thin, less than 0.000028 inches, 1/30th the diameter of an individual fiber? This is the question of questions, like Mary asked the angel, how can this be? The AI networks detected a hidden layer of digital information in the fabric. Where everyone thought an analog, the neural hub found faint geometric patterns and repeating mathematical ratios embedded in the image, like an Easter egg in a game, a creator's signature for devoted fans to find. In this case, AI is the dedicated fan, uncovering secrets that have been hidden for millennia. The face in the shroud is an intricate dataset coded as an image of a bearded man. The AI confirmed the three-dimensional aspect and demonstrated mathematical precision far beyond the capabilities of any human forger. Every scientist in syndenology has come face-to-face with a new reality. This ancient relic is information technology encoded in a format we cannot decode. But what could this digital code mean? Who put it there? Lazzaro states that the ultraviolet light required to create such a thin image layer exceeds the maximum power of all UV sources available today. It would require pulses shorter than 1/40 billionth of a second and intensities of several billion watts. The most sophisticated technology today cannot produce even a bad replica. So how could a medieval forger have done it? It doesn't make sense. The first thing AI noticed was that the image depth mimics a 3D relief. The way it responded to mathematical models proved it was encoded, not painted. The color only affected the topmost fibers. Even modern lasers cannot achieve that precision without searing the fabric. And yet this shroud exists, a great enigma. Some scientists say a powerful surge of energy from an unknown source imprinted the man's face onto the fabric. Skeptics claim it's a photographic effect using primitive light-sensitive chemicals. But no process from medieval times or the Renaissance can produce an image with these features. It should be impossible, yet the shroud has existed through the ages, defying easy answers. The truth you won't see on news channels. AI didn't stop at identifying these bizarre properties. The neural networks pointed out things that human researchers had never caught or thought unimportant. No one mentioned the symmetry around the chest area, but AI picked it up. A faint but intricate pattern near the chin, where blood stains are imposed in ways that defy universal transfer mechanics. Universal. These laws hold in our universe. If the pattern breaks those laws, could it have been caused by something outside our universe? AI found micro-inscriptions, faint text embedded in the image, invisible to the naked eye, Greek and Latin letters spelling out phrases. Forensic imaging confirmed they're part of the original image, not later additions. This wasn't a painting. This wasn't a medieval trick. This was a record, a witness, a moment frozen in cloth. Forensic analysts discovered traces of limestone dust that matched the ancient Jewish burial caves. And the blood? It tested positive for real human hemoglobin. Type AB, the rarest blood type. The evidence kept stacking. Every test, every scan, every AI analysis pointed in one direction. This cloth touched a real human body, a body that suffered crucifixion, a body that somehow left behind an image modern science cannot recreate. By now, even skeptics could see that although AI wasn't confirming the shroud was holy, it was uncovering a pattern unlike any artistic technique known to man. No brushstrokes, no transfer method, no ink bleed, just pure data that organized itself, as if it had a mind of its own, to produce a stunning, intricate image. So what does it all mean? That depends on who you ask. If the shroud is real, the implications shatter foundations. For Christians, it's not just a relic, it's proof. Physical proof that Jesus existed, that he was crucified, that something extraordinary happened in that tomb, something that left a mark science still can't explain. For 2,000 years, faith has rested on belief, on scripture, on trust in stories passed down through generations. But the shroud offers something different, evidence, the kind that doesn't require belief. It demands confrontation. Some say it's evidence of forgery using advanced tools whose knowledge has been lost to time. Others theorize it might be proof of something stranger and darker, something not even human, something from beyond our galaxy, something alien. That theory terrifies both skeptics and believers. Because if the shroud is proof of something beyond nature but not necessarily holy, then what does it prove? However, one thing is sure: when stripped of historical and religious bias, the data still doesn't behave like any typical image. It acts like an object created beyond the boundaries of ordinary human experience, and the more AI analyzed, the more it discovered. What AI continued to find left scientists baffled. The pattern bore no resemblance to brushwork, typical linen folds, or even how blood should behave. The image looked engineered, and not by human hands. If you're a believer, you might think a holy, heavenly light in the tomb lightly burned the crucified form of Jesus Christ onto the shroud. Some believe it's proof of the resurrection, that the moment Jesus rose from the dead, a flash of divine energy exploded outward, scorching his image into the burial cloth like a spiritual photograph. But maybe the shroud was never meant to be understood, only observed. What if in 50 years we'll have better technology to say once and for all what happened? Or will the story remain the same throughout all centuries? The Vatican has no official stance on the shroud's authenticity, though it encourages believers to view it as a symbol of Christ's suffering. Pope Francis called it an icon of a man scourged and crucified, not a declaration, just an acknowledgement. But here's the collision. Science isn't declaring the shroud real, it's declaring it impossible to fake. And if it's not a forgery, then what? Some scientists suggest an unknown natural process, a rare chemical reaction between body oils, burial spices, and linen. But no experiment has replicated that. No model explains the energy required. And that's the paradox. The shroud is too advanced to be medieval, too precise to be accidental, and too strange to be explained. If it's fake, it's the most sophisticated forgery in human history, created with technology that didn't exist and still doesn't. If it's real, then 2,000 years ago, something happened in a tomb that bent the laws of physics. Something that left behind an image science can study but not replicate. And that terrifies people, because it means the story isn't myth, it's not legend, it's evidence. But evidence of what? Scientists and the church seem on opposite ends. Lazaro says, "A miracle cannot be investigated by the scientific method. Science studies what repeats, what can be tested. Miracles, by definition, don't repeat." But in 1998, Pope John Paul II said, "The Church entrusts to scientists the task of continuing to investigate." So where does that leave us? AI has given us the most detailed analysis of the shroud in history. It has ruled out forgery. It has confirmed the image is real, complex, and unexplainable by current science. But it hasn't told us what it means. News outlets have refused to discuss AI's findings with the public, probably fearing an uproar among Christians today. Maybe the implications are too unsettling. Maybe the story doesn't fit a narrative, or maybe because the shroud does something dangerous. It makes people question what they think they know. Believers see the hand of God. Skeptics see a gap in knowledge. Scientists see a mystery that refuses to fit into any box. If the shroud is real, then the resurrection isn't just theology, it's history, and history has evidence. But if it's not, then we're left with an artifact that defies every rule of art, science, and time, and no explanation for how it got here. So where do you fall? What are we really dealing with here? What message is hidden in the code? Is it the work of a higher supernatural power, or something that can be explained away with science? Did a divine event in a first-century tomb leave behind a mark so powerful it transcends science? Or did something else, something we don't have words for yet, create an image that looks like proof but is really just another mystery? Has your faith been forever changed by what AI discovered, or do you still believe everything can be explained? The shroud doesn't give answers. It gives confrontation, and maybe that's the point. Because whether you believe or not, one thing is certain: something left that image. Something real. Something impossible. And I just made it undeniable. Let us know your thoughts down below. See you next time.